Hi guys, it's the day after. Had some time to reflect on things, look things over one more time, because I have to be honest. When I didn't pay much attention to the last goal, I was doing something and I was looking down on my phone and stuff. And when the second goal happened in the game against Young Boys, I made a video last night, and when I looked down and I heard the commentator saying, and the game here was only televised in Tundo or Telemundo or something, so it's Spanish talking. I don't know a damn word Spanish except for cerveza. But So I was looking down on my phone, fiddling with it, because I was like, "How is the other teams doing?" In our group, and I heard the guy in Spanish say something, and then he said Matic. So I thought it was Matic who did the pass, and when I look up, I see the ball being passed, and of course I see the goal being scored, and I just get up and I get so freaking mad, and I walked out of the room. So I looked at it, and then I posted a video. I should have done better with that, but so I looked at the second goal again. Still, personal mistake that shouldn't have happened. There's something called keep it simple. Do the simple things if you are in a position where shit can happen. And he had a lot of young boys players around him. And of course, shit happened. It was Lingard. I think I said Matic yesterday, but it was Lingard who did it. I mean, we should not jump down this guy's throat. Mistakes happens. It's soccer. It's football. Everyone makes mistakes every now and then. He played well against Newcastle when he came in. The 20-25 minutes he got. So he did good. However, the whole team failed yesterday. This was a collective failure from everyone involved. Now, I want to address something here. I've been looking online, and I see pundits, I see fans, I see news agencies and social media, and a lot of people are jumping down the throat of individuals. It can be coaches, it can be players. Come on, we are better than that. This was not just one guy's mistake or one guy's fault. This was a complete and utter failure from the whole team, except for a few individuals who did their best. Let me start with this. Bruno, Ronaldo, and Dalot, I think, did good. And I think De Gea did good. De Gea couldn't be faulted for any of the goals. Did De Gea make mistakes? Yes, he did a couple, but you know what? It's a game. You're going to make a couple of mistakes during the game. Sometimes you get punished for it, and sometimes you don't. And I think that Varane did good. I think Varane could have been more aggressive on the first goal. Maybe try to get ahead of the dude, or Maguire. Some of those, because we had 3 freaking centre backs in there. So he should have been more aggressive on the cross. But like I said, it was a collective, completely disaster. And shit like this happens every now and then. It's a long time ago since we played a game this poor. But then again, we had 10 men. And that plays into the psyche of some people. If you're not experienced to play in a 10-man situation, which we only maybe have 2 or 3 players who are, then you're going to have these kind of nerves coming onto you. So stop blaming Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Stop blaming Lingard. Stop blaming Maguire. Stop blaming Wan-Bissaka. Stop blaming individuals. Yes, everyone made a mistake. Everyone made a decision that could have been better. But it's going to happen. And it will be changed and learned from and done better in the next game. I have no issues believing that we are going to go through from this group to the quarterfinals. I have no issues with that. I think we will win the group. Even with this loss, we're going to win the group. We're gonna beat Young Boys at home. We're gonna beat Atalanta at home. We're gonna beat Villarreal at home. That's 9 points. I think that 10 points, 12 points is maybe good enough to go through. So that means we need a couple of draws away. That means if we can get a draw in Italy or in Spain, we should have 10 points. And we should be good to go with either first or second place to go through in the group. Getting the first place, of course, is better because you get a better seeding. I think that has to do some. I think it has an influence on the seeding for the draw for the quarterfinals and stuff like that. But I have no problem saying that we're going to win at home against all these teams. That's 9 points. If we then can go out and do a draw, one draw, that gives us 10 points. I think we're done going through with that at that point. Because here's the thing: what I saw yesterday, I really have to say this. What I saw players, and I saw this early on, and I was like, what's going on? They looked uncomfortable. Our players looked uncomfortable, and I'm gonna take it down so far. It's not an excuse at any point or anything like that, but we looked uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable playing soccer, you don't perform your best. This AstroTurf shit doesn't play into our favor. So when I saw that, I was like, what's going on? And I didn't think about it until like later in the first half. I'm like, they're playing on artificial turf. So that is a major factor here. Of course, playing with 10 men, no team is having an easier task playing with 10 and 11. So we had a few things going against us already. But what I saw, I really underestimated was Young Boys. I underestimated Young Boys so bad. They are not out there. Let me put it like this: they're not a great team. They're not a Manchester City or Manchester United or a Liverpool or Chelsea caliber team. But in single games and on games on their own field with AstroTurf and artificial turf that they are used to play on, this is a huge handicap for us, and there's a big advantage for them. How often do Manchester United in the Premier League play on AstroTurf? How often do we in Europe play on AstroTurf? How often do we play in FA Cup on AstroTurf? How often do we play in Carabao Cup on AstroTurf? Never. I can't remember last time we played on artificial turf. And AstroTurf, it depends on how old it is. Some of them are really freaking bad. I had played on AstroTurf when I was younger. And I can tell you, it is not fun. It is no fun at all. It hurts when you run. It hurts like hell after the game. And it sure hurts if you fall or some way or another you end up on the ground. It is a nightmare experience, I can tell you. It's no good. It's not fun compared to grass. Grass is so much better. So I think what we can take from this is I underestimated Young Boys. I think Manchester City did it. No, Manchester United did it. A lot of teams that comes there, like Villarreal and Atalanta, they're going to struggle on that field. Are every team going to probably beat Young Boys at home? Yes. I think Atalanta is going to beat them at home. I think Villarreal is going to beat them in Spain. But when you go to Switzerland and you play on that artificial turf, a lot of teams are going to struggle there. A lot of teams. Especially teams that play in a league where maybe the pace of the ball is slower, like in Italy and Spain. Because if you a through ball or a long pass or something, when that ball starts to bounce and roll on that turf, it rolls way faster and it bounces faster, bounce harder than it does on real grass. Real grass is watered most of the time. You have water sprinklers watering the field before the game, during the halftime, to because of the to the team's likings. Um, do that on artificial turf, and you're talking about playing on ice. It gets slippery, slappery really fast. That's why it's even worse to play on artificial turf when it rains. Those fibers gets really, really bad. Um, so yeah, I believe we can do this. And I have no doubt in it. We're gonna beat Young Boys at home on our Old Trafford, and we're gonna beat them comfortably. Then we're gonna beat Atalanta at home. We're gonna beat Villarreal at home. That's 9 points, like I said. We're gonna go to Villarreal in Spain, and I think we're gonna do a draw there. I think we can go to Italy and do a win. And if we do that, we have 13 points and we are cleared to go through. If we do 2 away draws, then we have 11 points, and we're good to go. We're through. So I don't have a problem. It was yesterday. It was just in the moment. It was really freaking irritating because at the worst we had. I was settling down for I was like, don't do this. Don't go into lockdown and park the bus to ride out a 1-0 lead. Don't do it. Don't do it. And they did it. And they paid the price for it. But when there was 1-1, and it wasn't too long to go, and I was like, okay, worst case scenario happened. We get a draw. We get 1 point. And then we do this shit and we lose. And that was just, at the moment, in the moment, it was like, And then people go like, oh, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, blah, blah, blah. Did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tell Lingard to play that ball back to De Gea? No. Did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer play that ball back to De Gea? No. That was a decision Lingard did up here all by himself. He thought, I'm going to do it back to De Gea. He probably didn't look up because he had 2 Young Boys players between himself and De Gea. The ball was slow as hell. And this is why I'm telling you about the AstroTurf. The reason it was soft and slow is because he got fooled by the turf. He knew if I play this ball too hard, it's going to go too fast, and I'm going to put De Gea in a bad situation. So he thought that he had a good touch on it, but it was too soft, so he didn't roll fast enough. So that was that's how this turf can play with your mental state when you play the game. I could see it the whole game through. We were shivery, we were shaky with the ball. When we passed the ball, I saw it when there was a couple of passes that was passed. That was good passes, but the ball bounced like a foot or foot and a half in front of the player. And normally you would just if it bounced like that, it would maybe slow down and do a nice little bow. But when it bounced, it kind of got that and it bounced really fast, and you could see the guy who received the pass kind of got taken like on a surprise, oh shit, and that made it very hard. And then you saw when that happened, Young Boys players was right up in our bodies, trying to disturb to get the control of the ball. This turf thing, I think that played a major role. A major role. It doesn't take away your skills, but it does something to your psyche when you're playing, because it's so new to you. Like I said, how often do Manchester United play on AstroTurf during the season? Never. I don't think there's any teams in the Premier League right now that has AstroTurf. Maybe there's some teams in the lower leagues. So if you play some Carabao Cup teams or something like that, you might end up maybe playing one. But this year we're not playing any Carabao Cup teams that are down there. We started with West Ham, and West Ham has grass. So I could see that. It was something. I went back and looked at 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there and 5 minutes there. I did first half and second half. I saw it right away because I was like, what in the hell did this do to our players? Why were we so jittery and so unsecure with the ball? And why did the ball, you could see it, they took one touch and boom, the ball was ahead of them, and they had to fight to get back to the ball. Case in fact, when Bissaka got the red card, you could see it. The ball got away from him. So I went back and I looked here and there for 5 minutes there. to get kind of like a point of view of what went wrong. And I saw it right away. We played bad because we are not used to play on that turf. There was something going on there. You could see it on the passes. You could see it on everything. And look at Ronaldo's goal when he hit the keeper in between his legs. He hit the legs or the thigh of the keeper. When the ball again goes from the thigh down on the ground. So look how the ball is spinning like that fast, spinning like it was spinning in circles and then over the line. Will it do that on a grass turf? Only if it has like tons of water on it, tons. If the field is soaked, then you get that kind of motion. So you have a hard, super hard bottom surface, and then you have these fibers, and sometimes they use like ground up rubber from old tires to put down in the grass. They do that here in the States for American football to kind of simulate a grass and earth and soil. But then you see it when they run. You see the black stuff like kind of like come up from the grass and then it falls down again. You don't see that. You didn't see that yesterday. So they didn't use rubber pellets to put in between the grass. Because over here we play on AstroTurfs. Here in the United States we play on AstroTurfs. Not soccer, but sometimes soccer too. A lot of soccer players do. But American football, they play on AstroTurf most of the time. A lot of teams do. And you see those black rubber pellets. And I've been to fields and seen how they do it. It's kind of neat. And it makes the field a little bit softer and a little bit slower. So in soccer, that would have probably been okay. But then again, you have to deal with, particles. Because you see when you run and you fall, you see these black small particles bounce up from the field. I looked for that yesterday. I couldn't see it, so that was not used. So this is a very hard foundation. And sometimes they use a manufactured foundation to drain water. Sometimes they use, it's like one of the teams in Norway that I'm very familiar with, that I've been working for many years and stuff like that, and that I played for. They have a grass field. It's a hybrid field where they have grass and with wove in artificial grass to maintain strength and durability of the field. So that was put in 20 years ago, and they just redid it this year to up the quality. And so they put in grass, but they wove in artificial grass, and they have heated under thing. So they have sod. But I have seen their training field where because it's Norway, you have a lot of 10 feet of snow during the year. So sometimes they train inside a dome during the winter, but they also train outside in the early stages of the winter. There we have AstroTurfs and artificial, foundation. And it's synthetic foundation. It's not sod or anything, it's not soil or anything like that. Hard as hell to walk on, hard as hell to run on. So if you have any problems with your feet, you can get some injuries from it. Players get a higher injury rate and frequency on AstroTurfs than regular grass. So and if you're a player who hate playing on artificial turf, you're not gonna just going out there and go like, oh, this is so bad, I don't like this. Automatically your mindset is to a level where you're gonna perform poorly compared to what you normally do. So I know what we just have to take this one and say, okay, done and out. We've been there. We tried it. We didn't succeed. But to blame individuals, if you're gonna blame anyone, blame the freaking referee. I went back in and I looked at the thing and I said yes. I know I said yesterday that they're gonna give the red card on it, and that they are, because the judges, the referees they're soft, and you can in fact uh, be a little, go for a little Oscar performance and try to persuade the referee, and that helped yesterday. He was rolling on the floor like he had broken both legs and ruptured his spleen and concussion and you know what else. And after the card was given, he was up on his feet, jumping around. So what did that tell you? He was playing into it. A referee is going to give red card on that. So as a player, you have to be mindful. But if you go by the rule book, that is not a red card, not at all, not a freaking red card at all. Warning, yellow card, foul, free kick, yes. Red card, no way in hell, no way. By the way, I said that Ronaldo's thing was probably not a penalty. I looked into it, and I looked at it yesterday, and I did it on like a loop, and I was like, okay, rewind, look at it again, go back, look at it again. It is an active arm, an active forearm against Ronaldo's back, and you can see him showing off. That is a penalty. So the referee, if you're going to blame anyone for destroying the game, it's the referee. This is one game where I'm going to say the referee had a hand in the result and had a hand in what happened. I don't often blame referees because I want to be impartial. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I want to say like, okay, the referees do not, for the most part, influence the game or the outcome of games. In this game, he really did. So I want to combine the turf, the referee, and of course individual mistakes. Those three things are the factors why we lost 2-1. We're not going to do that again. I can tell you that for sure, because we're not going to play on that turf again, and we're probably not going to have the same referee again. So all we can do is change what we did ourselves. So what can we learn from this? Well, be mindful of what you do. You know, on that side of the field, don't do those dramatic challenges like that. Maybe it's a little bit better to be a little bit more passive, not to risk it, because you never know what kind of referee we're having. When you're that far up on the field, don't do it. Don't do it. So that's something Wan-Bissaka is probably going to take a learning from. Lingard is probably going to learn from his mistake, that when I'm close to my own 17, 18 yard box, and I have two players between me and De Gea, I'm not sending the ball back that way. I'm going to just chalk it up this way instead. So he's going to learn from it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I hope, will learn from what he did, which was the tactical thing. I see people having question marks about, why did you take off Ronaldo? Why did you take off Bruno Fernandes? In this game, I in fact agree with that. Because at the end, with a surface like that, you risk injuries. You had young boys players. If you looked at it, they were very, very aggressive, and they went for your legs. There was a couple of times where there should have been a couple more cards to young boys players. I didn't feel comfortable in this game having our best players on there at the end, the last 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because it was very aggressive from their part. They were like all over us. We were since you're 10 men, you're running around in more spaces, you get more exhausted. It's better to get on some fresh legs. So I totally agree with that. But where I don't agree with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in this, and I hope he will learn from it, is the tactic of we're leading 1-0. There's 45. You come out after halftime. There's 45 minutes to go, and his choice was to put 5 in the back. That's okay. You can do that. 5 in the back, low block, low press, and 4 on the middle and 1 on top. 3 in the middle and 1 on top. I don't agree with that philosophy of doing it. I've never been a fan of protecting a 1-0 lead by being passive. If you want, the best defense is offense, always. And we have the skilled players to do that. The best defense is offense. I was hoping that you could put 5 in the back, but you don't have to back up all the way to your penalty marker. That's what we did. We had 5 guys, operating between the penalty marker in our own box and the little dome outside our 18-yard box. For the most part, that's where the back 5 was operating. Have a higher press. We have fast enough and strong enough guys to take care of that. So that's where I think we became too ultra defensive. We were. I'm sorry. It's kind of bad to say this, but we reformed in the second half to play Mourinho football. Sitting back, soaking up pressure as deep as we can. We became Newcastle. And that never works. I mean, to play on a 1-0 lead for 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 minutes at the end of a game, and you're 11 against 11, and you're kind of like dinking around down by one of the corner flags and your opponent's thing, or you try to just let the 4 or 5 minutes go, I can understand that. But 45 minutes of just backing up and soaking up and becoming basically just inviting them to come and try it and hoping that you're good enough to defend, it's wrong. It's never worked for anyone, and not for 45 freaking minutes. So that's where I hope he can learn from it. He has to become more aggressive and not back down, because that's not going to work. What I also hope that we can learn from is maybe we should every now and then do a training on artificial turf. I don't know if Carrington has artificial turf. I don't think it has. I think that's all natural grass. Maybe we should try to get more, because every now and then, you don't have to do it like every week, but at least once a month or once every other month, do a couple of trainings on artificial turf, just so you guys are ready for it when it happens. Guys, I know this is going to be a long video, but hey, we'll look forward to the next game, which is West Ham, Premier League game on Sunday, and then West Ham again midweek next week in the Carabao Cup. We're going to go for goals and go for wins in both of those. I said it all along this year. I think we can win the Carabao Cup this year. If we win Carabao Cup and FA Cup, I'm going to be really happy. Second place in the league, semi-final or final in the Championship, Champions League, I'm good. As long as we win the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. If we can win those two, we're on our way. So until next time, guys, take care.